Welcome, Aries. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot getting ready to do a reading for you. This is focusing on the new moon energy in Cancer on the 14th of this month. So this will be occurring in a couple of days, and we're building up to this energy as we speak. Before the new moon, there is always a technically 3-day period called the dark of the moon. And this is really the time in which one is invited to give thanks, express gratitude for the lessons and the opportunities that have just cycled through as a part of the former new moon, which was in Gemini. So there are a number of ritual practices many engage in, but the idea is that we recognize that we are always in a moment of choice, choosing our direction, and the dark of the moon indicates that opportunity to close out what was formerly experienced and started, and to open ourselves up to receiving new energy. This is impacting the area of your home, your roots, your family history, your ancestry in some particular way. So I'm going to start with this oracle card. I can't remember the name of the oracle deck, but I'm totally obsessed with the beautiful, brilliant, muted earth colors of these cards. This particular card is called Temptation, and it's somewhat of a stand-in for the traditional Major Arcana Devil card. This is telling me that there's a way in which you are evaluating or assessing your energy with regard to some kind of status quo, your status quo, whatever has been your new traditional or standard operating practice, the way in which you evaluate and measure your progress or your goals is something that is up for consideration. And I do believe that the energy of the Neptune moving into retrograde in Aries, which occurred last week for you, is part of this sweeping away of illusions, part of this release into making space for truth, not the stories, the habitual stories and images, aspirations that have often called to you, particularly if you are a creative. There's a kind of romantic cast to the way you aspire or see yourself building something of meaning. And this is actually asking you to sweep away those fantasies and open up to the truth of your situation. With the Crystal Spirits Oracle, I pulled the Kyanite, and I'm going to read this to you because this feels like a really dynamic Aryan energy, and it is kind of countervailing or working with the Temptation card. So this card represents, let me find the right page. I'm going to read a couple of messages. One is specifically for relationships and one is specifically for prosperity. You may be right and have the best idea in the room, but Kyanite Spirit is here to tell you you are being called to be the bigger person, the diplomat seeking to connect on a level of mutual understanding. There was a reason you wanted to connect with this person or people, and now you have the power to do so in a healthy way that honors you and them. You might be surprised by how much more readily your wisdom is heard when you reach out in love before trying to sway someone with logic. It's possible you've attracted a relationship where you're doing all the emotional work. If so, Kyanite reminds you that you can always say no and end things if a balance can't be reached. If this is your choice, know that it is okay to free yourself from the conflict. And on to the prosperity message, you have We all have different ideas about the best way to secure our safety and build our wealth. Kyanite Spirit is here to remind you that it's fine to take a break when you recognize that you are overworked and not seeing results for all your efforts. Let go and leave space for something bigger to reveal itself. There's no need to get attached to the form your wealth takes or go over old wounds and losses again and again. Learn and move on, for much abundance is available to you and new opportunities await. Make peace with others and space for new opportunities, and your abundance will flourish. Lovely, lovely messages. This is really resonating with this idea that there are more than one way to connect. And when we have particular skills, verbal skills, presentation skills, we have a keen mind, a great curiosity, we're often invested in those carrying the weight of negotiations or our relationships. And this is asking you to be sensitive to all the other ways that you can make connections from love for your well-being as well as the well-being of others. For your present energy, the Tower. Interesting. So I do see this as your evaluation of the status quo, the way that you are measuring yourself against the kind of traditional advancement or progress you've made. There's also something here about your keen intuition as applied to social groups and organizations. So in this case, it can be your own business, your family, your community, whatever constitutes your source, your roots, on the in the wake of a quarter of a millennium celebration in the U.S. This it seems to me to be in asking you to dig into your indigeneity, whatever that is. If your indigeneity relates to the continental North America, South America, or any other continent, that is where you have already created the spiritual and psychological tools that have been tested throughout time to build in a way that creates an alternative to the way things have been. This is a recognition that the way we're doing things is not effective, it's not impactful in the way that it needs to be, and you are part of, and certainly in your mind, and I believe that you are part of the solution, new ways to do things, new ways to think about things, a new direction in which to place the common good as the central core belief from which we all operate. In the past, this is the Knave of Pentacles is the page. In some decks, this is the scribe. This is you observing what needs to be done. So there's clearly energy here about you building something, being at the foundational stages of creating something, so that you are keenly aware and observant of all the steps, the procedure, the strategies needed to take the most appropriate steps moving forward. In Pentacles, this is about something that is impactful, that is practical, that is accessible to others. So whatever you're building, you understand that the foundation, the first steps are the most important ones. And I think that that is what has been leading you to understanding how you're approaching your relationships, your relationship to your resources, and the resources that you can make available to others. And in the future, the Emperor. This is one of your cards. Some people believe this card is solely associated with Aries. I think what it's speaking to, and this absolutely relates to your spiritual development, your social progress in the world, is the sense of ownership, sovereignty of who you are, what skills you bring, the confidence that you bring to the leadership of a situation that will benefit others on behalf of others. So you're fully aware um, that you're responsible for the reality you experience, and this is what you are enlisting others to take up with you. This ability to shape your reality in a way that does consider the common good of all, that does not simply lean on the privilege or entitlement or benefit that some have traditionally experienced. If you are one of those who feel as though you have benefited from the status quo, from the way things are, you are seeking absolutely very consciously a way to extend that privilege, to extend those rights, that justice, that fairness, that equity, that opportunity that others can generate their own abundance in a way that you clearly believe you have. If this reading is resonating with you, Aries, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. I love your comments and I appreciate your presence here. So I'm going to clarify the Knave or the Page of Pentacles with two cards. I'm going to take the Seven of Cups, the Three of Cups, and apply the Tower to the present, in which case I'm going to select the Six of Cups for the present, and for your past Emperor, we have the Lord of Cups and the Eight of Staffs. Brilliant. So the Knave of Pentacles, this willingness to learn what needs to be learned in the moment, to take the most practical approach to building or creating something. You have a lot of emotional energy. There's celebratory energy here as you allow others to help to recognize the many options you have. And you're opening yourself up to the feelings of those options, the roller coaster, the kind of allowing yourself to feel everything and yet recognize that you have the strength, the practicality, the basic skills and responsibility to recognize that this is an opportunity for celebration. This is not a time to wring your hands, to feel sorry, or to patronize anyone else for not having what you don't have. But it's an opportunity for you to bring in all of those with whom you are connecting or trying to connect, in recognizing that options is a good thing. Those options can be fashioned into any way that you determine them to be. But this is about an opening of the heart, an opening of the willingness to see life in a more lighthearted, celebratory, blessed way. And this is something that is really fueling your ability to do the work that you see as necessary. In the present, the Tower is emphasized with the Six of Cups. This is telling me that you are capturing your passion, your gift. This can be through a relationship or a partnership, but there's an opportunity that has been available to you for quite some time. And I do believe many of you are revisiting that gift or talent. You're recognizing the ability, the intelligence and curiosity you have to not only choose to pursue an option, to create an alternative, but this curiosity gives you a chance to pull in the joy and the pleasure of this journey. And that is a big part of the reconnection that I believe many of you are making, or the opportunity to renew or redo an opportunity from the past. You may be connecting with former colleagues, a resource from your past, an alma mater, um, some way in which you are extracting from the experiences that that relationship or opportunity gave you, the joy, the pleasure, the empowerment of feeling the best that the world has to offer, the real knowledge that you are uh, able to direct your resources in a way that can create new realities for yourself and others. But this is not something you're doing on your own, but I do feel that you are revisiting and reconnecting with resources and relationships that you've had in the past. In the future, the sovereign emperor is clarified by the Lord of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Eight of Staffs. This very powerful guidance that you are experiencing and sharing with others has been greatly softened by your pursuit of a number of opportunities, particularly relationships. As you see the potential for certain connections and partnerships in your life, your ability to be an active member of your community, perhaps actively pursuing connections from your personal or family past, recognizing the power of guidance, protection, and ancestry in your life. This is all empowering you to move closer to a much larger movement that shares the goals and responsibilities that you're actively seeking through your part, through what you're creating, through your guidance and care of others, the experiences of others. You are aware that you are consciously connecting with a much greater community that may prevail against what we are seeing as business as usual. This has a lot to do with the connection that you're making with indigeneity. And again, that is what is your ancestral source, wherever that is from or wherever that takes you. You recognize that as the guiding principle in your life and is empowering you to reconnect with perhaps those communities, those ancestors, or those families, or relatives who are uh, reestablishing connections with the past in a way that gives clear direction to the way that you're moving forward in the future. I hope that's clear. I'm going to finish this reading with a crystal oracle. And I pulled the rhodochrosite, and the key word is self-acceptance. I fully accept myself and know that I'm worthy of great things in life. This is really a beautiful and empowering reading, and really talks about the development of you as an individual, but the way in which you see a much larger pattern that you're able to fit yourself into, insert yourself in, or recognize your connection with a larger positive global movement towards prosperity, redefining home, resetting yourself emotionally, and reflecting on that pursuit of individual power, its place in global change. Until next time, Aries, namaste.